What's up, everybody? This is Henry Fleischer here from the Cannabis Dispatch, also the CBD Business Networking Group on Facebook, and I have a very special guest today. I have Michelle Finn of Jubilee of Wellness. So, Michelle, what is Jubilee of Wellness all about?
Well, it's all about finding where you are and celebrating the health that you have and working towards as many natural options as possible in your healing journey.
Yeah, when did you start Jubilee of Wellness?
I'm going to my fourth year.
Oh, wow, 4 years?
Yeah. I've finished. Let's see, it was 3 years in March, so heading into my fourth.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. And
Yeah.
what was it that made you want to start the company as well?
Well, my mom was diagnosed with leukemia, and it was very fast acting. It just came out of nowhere. And so I was helping her as much as I could with any natural ways to, just help her through her treatments. I didn't try to heal her cancer with essential oils and cannabis,
Mhm.
but I did help her through her treatments with essential oils and cannabis. So
So, what impact has that had on her treatments and ultimately recovery as well?
it's it's been phenomenal. Honestly, I had no idea what I was doing. when I knew that peppermint could help wake you up. I was just making sugar scrubs with essential oils. I wasn't really studying for, any extreme health measures of healing. Like I just loved, I've always been a little bit of a backyard herbalist and made a lot of my own stuff in the kitchen and, would go for a hike and bring things back and, cook with it or make salves or whatever. So I've always had a little bit of a hand in that. And so when my mom was diagnosed, she was going through some extreme chemo and radiation and eventually a bone marrow transplant. And it was a long journey. It's still a long journey. And so I was just using simple things like peppermint to help settle her stomach or help her wake up when she needed to eat or,
Mhm.
move so that she could stay alive. Or I would give her lavender on her pillow when she was having anxiety attacks or something. And that's how it got started. And, I realized that there was a lot more science that I didn't know and I wanted to know. And there were more ways to help her heal and I wanted to know what they were. So it was really just became a mission to help my mom through her treatments.
Oh, wow, that's awesome to hear. So what was the toughest thing you went through when you first opened up then?
I'm sorry?
What was the toughest thing you went through when you first opened?
Oh my gosh. So I was opening a business while, sometimes I'd be sending emails from my mom's hospital bed, and then stepping into the cannabis space, the CBD, once I learned about essential oils, it turns out that one of the leading essential oil experts in the world is from my hometown. So when I dove into the essential oils, I befriended them and I was like, hey, this is what I'm going through. Can you point me in the right direction? And they did. And it turns out that they have family in the cannabis, the CBD industry also. So I started reaching out to them and they helped me learn how to use CBD to help my mom's healing journey and just guided me through it. I lucked out. It was crazy. Just, the stars kind of aligned. So when I did connect with that company, eventually that manufacturer, eventually they were like, you need to start your own line, like you're invested, you're in this and we need caregivers out there. We need people who care promoting, these products. So I'd say the hardest thing was I didn't realize how many bumps were going to be in the road
Mhm.
starting a CBD. I was like, it's legal. Why would there be a problem? It's legal. And I had website after website shut down, credit card processors changing their mind. I put hemp in my email address, not knowing any better because I was legal. I wasn't hiding anything. And that got me put, QuickBooks flagged me, which put me on the match list.
Mhm.
Um, so I just like all these things like were happening that I had no idea to watch out for because I was a newbie and I thought I had nothing to hide because I shouldn't have to hide. It's a legit industry. Um, but I would use someone's like QuickBooks. When I bought the program, I didn't realize that they were not hemp business friendly. So they flagged me. They sent me over to Inuit, who also flagged me and put me in their system. So I couldn't get a credit card processor for a little while.
Oh man, that's a bummer.
It was a doozy, Facebook ads. I was, since I'm going to into my fourth year, I started when things were still really new, and Facebook prompted me to boost something, one of my products. So I was like, oh, cool. I didn't know I could. So I hit boost, and they have forever blocked me from ads. And that was several years ago. So yeah, bumpy, bumpy stuff.
Yeah. So like that's like because you definitely went through some fires right there. But so knowing everything you know now, what would you do differently if you had to do it over again?
I would realize that even though it's a legal business, that there are a lot of corporations that do not want to play. They do not want to be part of the cannabis industry, the hemp industry, and I would know to be more cautious about what I'm doing when I, am trying to build a website. Like Bluehost, even Bluehost shut me down, and I was like, I'm selling legal hemp, I'm not even in the cannabis. I mean, it's cannabis because it's hemp, but you know what I mean? Like everything was legit. I have COAs. I have, you can trace any of my products, and they're like, no, we don't allow cannabis. And I was like, okay, thanks. So yeah, it's been an expensive journey when you, spend all that time and money into building, and then they smack you down because you're in the hemp industry.
You know what's going to happen though? They're going to eventually come around and accept those companies.
Yeah, they probably will. I mean, like Facebook, you see CBD advertised on Facebook now.
Yeah, there's ways people get around it though.
Yeah, yes, but they won't lift my ban for anything. It's been like 2.5 years, and they won't even entertain it. So yeah, it's definitely you go through the fire when you're one of the earlier ones.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say the toughest part about being in cannabis this year is in 2021?
Well, I'd say, I've learned a lot. So I've made a lot of connections. It is a little bit new. It's like people don't flinch when I say hemp or CBD like they used to. Like I work at the farmers market, my local farmers market, and that's really how I got started. I've been part of my community for like 20 years, in the PTO and fundraisers, and just an active part of my community. So when I set up at the farmers market, people know and trust me. So they were happy they had a trusting source for CBD. So I would say the people sometimes people would walk by and they would see CBD hemp, and I had my teenage daughter right next to me at the booth, and they would just give me the dirtiest looks. Like, you're selling pot with your kid? Like, no. So they don't really flinch anymore. Like they don't look down their nose. The ones that are new, they're not as new to it now, even the people who aren't interested, and they don't judge the way they used to.
Yeah, definitely. It's better they're coming around to that now too.
Yeah.
So yeah, if a customer was to choose between your business and 3 others just like yours, why'd you suggest they give you a try first?
Well, because I work directly with my farmers, which is fantastic. My CBD never sits in a warehouse. My lipid infused full spectrum is grown and processed like an hour and a half from my house. So it's with the lipid infusion, it keeps more of the cannabinoids intact. There's a high CBDA in there. It's not killed off in the process. It is a golden CBD, and it does have a bitter flavor, but it is so worth the healing. I've one of my first customers, my first has been buying from me since the beginning customers. When I switched from CO2 to lipid infused, she was like, oh, the flavor, the taste, oh my gosh, it's so rough. And I was like, give it a week. I was like, I'll trade you out, no problem. Like right now, if you want me to. I was like, but what I suggest is give it a week or two, see how you feel, and then call me back. And she was like, okay. So she gave it 2 weeks, and she wrote to me, and she's like, I don't ever want anything else again. She's like, this is it. She's like, I'm down to 1 or 2 pain pills a week. For her back pain, because she has numerous issues going on in her back, and she's on her feet 12, 14 hours sometimes. She's like, I don't ever want anything else. So the lipid infusion is fantastic. For people who need a non-detectable THC, I have a CBD, CBG broad spectrum that the tangerine is like the #1 seller. It's fabulous. Also processed in Indiana, lab created in Indiana. So I like to work directly with my local hemp cannabis community whenever possible. And when it comes to my essential oils, I'm working on becoming a registered aromatherapist. Like I'm in there when it comes to studying every possible way to get people the healing they need.
Yeah, are those oils are in your CBD products, correct?
I know it's. I have the essential oils and then I have the CBD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're not together, which I'm rebuilding my website now because I had all of my CBD and essential oils on one website, and it was just too confusing. People who weren't familiar with essential oils wouldn't, or CBD, like it was just too much. So I'm now in the process of dividing them so that it's a little more clear.
Yeah. Do you plan on like combining the two into one product though?
No, because they're used in so many different ways. So essential oils aren't normally ingestible. I mean, you can, but I don't recommend it.
Yep.
To where the CBD is more ingestible. Now, I do have products that combine the two. Like I make a salve, and I don't sell it on my website because I make it small batch. And then by the time I got it all tested for, every single batch, it would just get too pricey. And also with the shipping, like it's oil based, like with shea butters and jewel weed and all these herbs and essential oils and terpenes that I work into it. And so that is something I just do locally, but yes, I absolutely mix in my essential oils and some extra terpenes with my CBD salve.
Oh, got it. What's the #1 way you acquire new customers?
Normally I get a lot of word of mouth. I get a lot of, hey, my cousin's been buying from you for a year. They said they won't buy from anyone else. Where's your website? A lot of new customers come from the farmers market, even though I live in kind of a river city. We're right across the bridge from Louisville, Kentucky. I'm in Southern Indiana. So we have a really good farmers market. Like before COVID, we would have between 1,000 and 1,500 people on a Saturday. So it's a booming market, and that's where I get the majority of my customers. I am working on, I just launched an essential oil membership because like with cannabis, teaching about hemp, like you can do the basics of how to get somebody started on hemp within 20-30 minutes, right? And have a pretty good explanation for them. And they really just have to take it consistently to get the results. When it comes to essential oils, there are so many different essential oils that help in so many different ways, and there are several ways to use them. I've started an essential oil monthly membership so that I can teach about each essential oil at a pace where people can learn, retain the information, and move on to the next oil. And what I hope is that by introducing people to essential oils, if they are not already open to CBD, they will be by the time they get to know me and learn about natural healing.
Oh, got it. What role has the internet played in your business as it has become more prevalent?
I'm sorry, the internet?
Yeah, what role has it played?
Sure. Well, it's allowed me to share with stories and videos, pictures of my mom and her healing journey. I mean, my mom was wearing a mask. I tell them before it was cool, because she had to have a bone marrow transplant. So we would have to cover from head to toe because even a tiny cold could be detrimental for someone who's had a recent bone marrow transplant. She had chronic pneumonia from her something called graft versus host disease. And so getting to tell that story and getting to share with people how CBD has helped her hold back her graft versus host disease and changed her life, really. She went to being in the hospital 1 to 3 times a month with chronic pneumonia from the graft versus host disease. To after starting a CBD regimen of 50 milligrams a day, she's only been in the hospital, I think 2 times in like 2 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I was just giving it to her for pain relief. I was like, here, mom, because she was always, she was in the hospital all the time and sleeping in hospital beds, and she'd end up, in pain from that. And I was like, will you just take this for the arthritis relief and to, help you sleep better? And when I finally got her to start a regimen of taking it every day and 50 milligrams a day, we noticed like it was 1 week without going to the hospital, or a month. You know, the first month I was like, hey, we just made it a month with no hospital visits. Like, that's awesome. And then it was 2 months, and then it was 3 months. And then we were like, holy shit, it's the CBD, you know, and it just kept going to where we made it over a year without a hospital visit. And it was because the CBD was holding back the graft versus host disease. And there is medical evidence of this happening, like not from my mom. I didn't get anyone to study her, but another friend of mine that's in the cannabis industry, she was like, you know, there's research on that, right? I was like, no, I had no idea. So I was able to present that research to my mom's bone marrow transplant doctor, and it ended up being published in a medical journal that he has articles published in. So he was pretty blown away. I was blown away. Like, you know, we were able to prove that CBD holds back the graft versus host disease.
Oh, wow. And if you had to take a look 6 months to a year into the future, where would you like to see Jubilee of Wellness?
I would like to, one, start a nonprofit for graft versus host disease families, because it takes lives. And, you know, it's, as a business owner, it's hard for me to contact people that have graft versus host disease and say, hey, try CBD. Like, I see your child is suffering, like try, because they feel like I'm trying to sell them something. And I'm like, go buy Charlotte's Web, like go buy whatever you want, you know, like that's not my point. My point is it saved my mom's life, you know? So I would love to have a position where I could offer that information and people not think I'm trying to sell them something. Also, I would love to have an internet presence that does not require me to physically go out and work every Saturday morning at the farmer's market. Like, I love it. I love the connection. But I look forward to getting to the place where I can sleep in on a Saturday and go to the lake with my kids, you know? Mm-hmm. So what I'm working on is more of an online presence. And also something that I haven't posted on my website yet, but I will be within the next, I'd say it probably take me about 2 months to finish it, is I have a terpene business also, well, where I sell wholesale terpenes, and I can save people a lot of money. I have a fabulous connection. And I mean, there are times that my customers come back to me and they're like, you just saved me 30% on my purchase, you know, from ordering on the bigger online companies, and the quality is completely there. So I look forward to moving that into a wholesale area for the terpenes, and then continue my education with the essential oils and the CBD for the community, and starting the nonprofit.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's definitely good stuff. And what would you say right now is the biggest issue you have in the business?
It's just me. Like, the biggest issue is there's only one of me. Yep. I didn't start, like, I had no idea I was going to be starting a business. So I did not have investors lined up. I did not have a 5-year plan lined up. Like, I had no intentions of going into business. And it just evolved into that, you know?
Yeah.
So I would say the biggest challenge is I need to create a team. And that's hard to do because I'm so busy doing the work and taking care of my family and taking care of my mom. Like the cancer left her handicapped. She can't drive. You know, she's often wheelchair bound. So trying to care for all the people in my life and keep my business going is very challenging. So I need to slow. I'm gonna. My plan is this winter, when things are slowing down at the market, is work on creating a team.
Oh, got it. What do you think your business would look like with a team?
I think it would look like fabulous machine with a team. Like, I just, you know, I'm a creative person. I love making things. I love creating things. I'm a bit of an extrovert. So I love getting out there with the public and speaking and teaching and hearing the feedback and getting the phone calls that, hey, I'm actually sleeping now. You know, if I haven't slept through the night in 7 years and I'm getting 6 or 8 hours of sleep now. Like, I love all of that stuff. So I'd say with the team doing more of the back end, I would be able to do a lot more of that front end, and I would be able to reach a lot more people and help a lot more people feel better.
Oh, wow. And on the terpene side, you mentioned that you do terpene wholesale. So where could somebody buy the terpenes?
Right now, they would need to contact me, and they could do that at Michelle, MICHELE.Finn, FINN, at jubileeofwellness.com. Or
Oh,
they can find me on Facebook, Jubilee of Wellness, or Michelle Finn with 1L.
what was it, the two that made you say, hey, I want to start Terpene Wholesale as well?
Well, it just so happens that my wholesaler for my essential oils, first of all, they are a fabulous wholesaler. They travel all around the world. They're sitting at the table. Their buyers are sitting around the table with Young Living doTERRA buyers. And yet I'm not an MLM. I'm an independent company. And you just, there are only a certain number of independent essential oil companies out there. So it just so happens that they also sell terpenes to other companies. And I've been with them for so long. We have a really good connection, that I started realizing that, wait a minute, I have access to these terpenes. I mean, if you want 16 ounces, or if you want a drum, I can get that for you. So it was just kind of a surprise. It just came as a bonus for what I'm doing.
Oh, wow. And what would you like to see be done in hemp or cannabis differently?
So much. There's so much I want to see done. First of all, if I, I'm an adult, I'm a tax-paying citizen. If I want to go to the store and buy myself some cannabis, I feel like I should be able to do that. I feel like you should be able to do that. I feel like everyone should be able to do that. I think people with cannabis charges should be forgiven, wiped clean. There are so many families that have been disrupted. People sitting in jail over cannabis. I mean, my brother was driving home one time, got pulled over, and they found a seed in his floorboard, they said, and arrested him. He spent the weekend in jail in Kentucky and lost he had a great job, lost it because they wouldn't allow him to call Monday morning and explain what was happening. And they had a policy of no call, no show, you're fired, period. And he lost a really good job that way. And it was because they found a seed in his floorboard, so they said. So, nonsense like that, I mean, it just goes on everywhere, and it needs to stop. And someone like my mom, she should be able to go buy a cookie, or I should be able to go buy the stuff I need to make her cookies and feed her cannabis cookies, and her not be in trouble with pain management because she has an elevated level of THC.
Oh, of course. I think one thing I would like to see too be done is like there should be stricter laws and regulations about COAs, because there are some people who fake CO, like they'll take a COA and like change it up saying it's theirs.
Yeah, that is, anyone who practices that way, they don't deserve to be in any business. I mean, you definitely need to know your source, and I do know people have actually seen that happen to them, and it was flabbergasting, because who does that? Like why would you even need to do that? Just, if everyone just stayed in the right lane and went the direction they're supposed to go, and didn't treat people like that, and didn't misuse other people to take advantage of situations, that's just it's bad conduct, bad business. It's just sad.
But it's like I wish everybody would think like saying, hey, if I wouldn't take this product myself, why should I sell it?
Right. Yeah. And that's, I can't imagine, not having a connection with the product that you're selling. Like, I use my essential oils every day. I use my CBD every day. If I do skip my CBD for a few days, I know it, because I have arthritis in my back. So if I'm skipping my, like, say, I'm drinking beer for a few nights with friends because I have someone in town, and it's a friend we haven't got to catch up in months, and we're staying up on Thursday night and we're sipping beer, and I don't take my CBD. And then a couple of days later, I just kind of let it go. Within a few days, my back kicks in, the arthritis kicks in. And it's like, hey, remember me? And so I can't imagine not having a connection to the product and selling the product. It's part of my life every single day.
Oh yeah, like there's a difference too. You notice it. You don't feel it right away, but after a period of time of consistency, you know.
Yeah, you do.
If you feel like everything's more at an equilibrium, if you have a good calm, I feel like.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Yep. And what advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about entering the space?
I would say be patient. Don't overextend yourself. be cautious with your connections. Take your time to get to know your connections, and don't overinvest. Take your time, like I kind of jumped in head first, not initially, but when I was like, meeting with a graphic designer, and then, buying labels and buying bottles, and, finding someone to bottle my products. And this is when I first started, things of that nature, like I didn't realize that, oh, I could pay this person to bottle my CBD instead of this person. They actually have a facility that I like better or trust more or whatever, and it's less, instead of just the first person I met. So I'd say vet your sources.
Oh, God. Yeah, I think one thing talks a little bit too, how you kind of like just went head first in the business. I believe that's the best way to do it. Like just take action right away instead of you can always make the plans later. I know that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. I did have to maneuver quite a bit because I didn't quite know what I was doing. Again, I had no intentions of starting a business. And once it started, I was like, you know what, I'm doing this. I'm doing it. And, I've learned a lot, and definitely a lot more confident with everything I'm doing now than I was in the beginning. But I will say it's a friendly space. I've made a lot of connections, other people growing, together, like right beside me, or maybe they were a couple of years further ahead than me. They offered guidance, they offered reliable sources, and, it is a friendly space for sure.
No, yeah, it definitely is. And I just lost my train of thought. Oh, I was going to say too, even with starting a business, you don't really need to put much capital into it too.
Yeah. Starting small, not, like I always am kind of in the mindset of buying bulk to save money in the long run.
Yeah.
But I will say, when you're starting a business, sometimes that kind of puts you into a corner, because then when you want to shift, you realize that, oh, I'd actually like to do this a little bit differently. Then, you have a large amount of something and you're wanting to shift, and you have to take care of that first. So I would say it's kind of starting small when you can, and not overbuying would be some of my advice.
Yeah. How could somebody get hold of your business too if they have any questions?
Sure. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, jubileeofwellness.com is my website. Right now, it's just essential oils. I'm working on the Trust Jubilee CBD website. And you can email me at Michelle, Michele.Finn, F as in Frank, INN, at jubileeofwellness.com.
Yep. It was great having you on, and anybody who's still watching, please like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, thank you, Henry. Thanks for the invite.
Yes, you're welcome. Awesome. You're always back. You're always welcome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you.